Have you ever DNF a book? I hate DNFing a book. It seems cold. It seems heartless in a way to just take something that somebody has worked on for so long and just toss it to the side. But sometimes it's necessary, especially if the book doesn't necessarily connect with you. Here are three books that I nearly DNF, and I'm glad that I didn't. First up, of course, is Dune by Frank Herbert, the master sci-fi novel of all time, according to a lot of people. I had a hard time with this right at the beginning. For some reason, I just could not make a connection. And actually, it ended up being the audiobook that got me past the hump that I was in. And then after I kind of got about 25-30% into the book, I actually picked this copy up and actually read it from there on out. So sometimes it's just changing the way you're consuming the media that helps you kind of get past the hump that you were dealing with. And that for me, it was listening to the audiobook. And then once I got into it, I picked it up and I actually started reading it. But yeah, Dune was one of the ones that I nearly DNF, and I'm glad that I didn't. The second one is one that a lot of people have actually DNF, and I don't blame them because it can be very challenging, very difficult to understand because it's not your typical type of fantasy story. And that, of course, is The Gunslinger by Stephen King. This book is very weird. It is very strange. Stephen King wrote this, I think, when he was like 19 or 20 years old, and then published it later after he cleaned it up. It's amazing what you can do when people tell you, hey, just go to book 2, Drawing of the Three. All you need to understand is that Roland is pursuing the Dark Tower. And so I did that. I DNF'd this. I put this down. I walked away, and then somebody said, go pick up book 2, Drawing of the Three. And I did. And I immediately got into Eddie and got into the Dark Tower series. Now, after I had read the complete Dark Tower series, I actually came back and reread this. And I got past those first 100 pages that I could not get past. And the book was so much different. The experience was a lot different. And I actually enjoyed it. And I'm glad that I came back and actually finished it because there's so much depth and richness to who Roland is and the opening of this story. But this is a very challenging story without question. Now, the third book that I nearly DNF'd that a lot of people are going to be completely shocked on, of course, is Red Rising. I nearly gave up on this. I had heard all the hype. I had heard the entire hype about the series. And I read those first probably 75, 80 pages, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. What's happening to him? And then the pacing I felt just slowed down. I wasn't getting into it. I wasn't excited to pick it up. And then all of a sudden, it got good again because everybody kept telling me, just keep going. And I am so glad that I kept going. I'm so glad that I didn't give up on this series. And I'm so glad that I just kept fighting my way through the problems that I, as a reader, was actually having trouble with. So, those are three books that I have almost DNF'd. And I'm glad that I didn't because they actually ended up being some of my favorite stories. Not necessarily in my top 10 or 15 books of all time, but they're definitely up there. And sometimes I think as readers, we have to kind of fight through the personal slogs because they're not slogs for everybody, but through the personal slogs of a book to get to the enjoyment on the back end. And I think it's sometimes worth it. There are some books that are just not going to connect with you, and that's fine. Don't worry about that. If you set something aside, your time is valuable, and don't be afraid to just walk away if you need to. So these are the ones that I did not walk away from. I have walked away from plenty of books, but these three right here are the ones I'm glad that I did not walk away from, and I came back and I actually ended up finishing them. I'm JJ. This is Geeky Dad's Reads. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the little bell thingy for me, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.